So here we are, and yes, Eruptide Podcast 10 is coming out. I've been working it all out on notes, and it's an awful lot of recordings to slap together into like the central statement. And I might go very kind of nice pictures of me and proper thumbnail. But hey, maybe I'll just go back to where we all started with clip art and memes and my overly offensive and real opinions on you name it. But yeah, it all just boils down to one simple thing, which is anything and everything I've done on this channel is entirely within the bounds and guidelines of fair use. Anybody and everybody's content who's been sampled, excerpted, talked over, etc. are all part of that agreement as well. And there was no clear, this is what you're supposed to do with it, in terms of matters that have come up on YouTube again and again and again in regards to things like what isn't a parody, what is not comedy, when can you use those, trademarked characters along with that song and sync it together. Same thing with tons of other stuff. A lot of what I've done on this site before I started doing any of this falls into that category of like, can you post that kind of shit? And it's like, yes, you can. That's a large point of the Eruptide channel, is know the rules, know these things. But yes, you can try new ideas. You can respond to somebody else's stuff. Just do so directly. Don't just take their stuff and put it on your channel. Like, respond to what they're saying directly. Various other things in terms of other multimedia projects online. It's just there is no one, you can't parody me, I can't cap you. Like, there is no such thing like that. There are different standards that people are applying to it. And that's a lot of my point, is everyone who's opinion editorial, everyone who's speaking out for atheism in a highly, ridiculously, overly religious world, on and on and on like that. Everyone who's taking a stand and speaking out cannot constantly be running to you to be like, oh, can I please talk about you? And same thing with other things like relating to parodies and new productions and new ideas. The innovators who came up with AMVs and MEPs and all the rest of these ideas like Dragon Ball Z Abridged and Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, they all had to fight for their own artistic merits and creation, or they were put in a position where they might have to. And that's always been my point about everything I've ever done online, is it's just like I am totally willing to fight for every last single bit of it. And some of it is, miscalculations kind of things along the way, and I'm always willing to cop to that when that's my responsibility to be on that, and I had a poor choice there, or was not reviewing the policies about that kind of thing. But we all learn as we go. That's part of what YouTube is. It's the big, here you are, there you go kind of thing. And that's my point, is here you are, there you go. I do gossip media. I talk about your web show. I follow all the rules. I've been doing this for about 10 years. Chances are, whoever the fuck you are, if you have a web show, you haven't been doing it for 10 years. I don't do web shows. I do multimedia production, usually blogs. I'm checking up on your ethics. I'm questioning your valid or invalid statements when you make them. And then when you're a multimedia producer who doesn't get into all of those fields, you're not instantly absorbed into all the opinions of fucking YouTube just because you posted a video on YouTube, but you are in my business now because you put something on YouTube. And same thing with a lot of other stuff where it's like not every part of the internet agrees with it, but we can use almost anything we want in about 7-second bursts in terms of images and all kinds of other things. And there's no standard that says you can't. But it is important to say when talking about these things, certain media studios and certain artists are extremely against free speech. 100%. Prince and Nintendo fall into this category. So yes, it's a little more nuanced than I can ever get into piece by piece. It's basically based around sharing your interests. I really like Evanescence and Deftones. and they appear here. I really enjoy what I heard of Stevie Cybernetics music, available for free on his channel. And so it appears here, excerpted at about a 7 to 8 second snip in one of the videos, and a bunch of other things like that. I don't mind declaring it as an accident on one of the early podcasts about Robin Williams. That was an accident. I didn't know that. So anyway, that's the point. Fair use has limits, but the more you're sitting there thinking about, I can't do this, the more you're not going to produce the next great YouTube idea. And I'm not the guy who I think has all these amazing, great YouTube ideas. I'm more of a writer, and I'm more like producing some script I don't want to fucking perform and things like that. So just something to know. I am not the, attorney who won't say he's an attorney. I am not the guy who like is sitting in Google headquarters pretending to be just a regular web user and then like telling you all how it is. I'm just someone that's been doing this for ages. I know all the ins and outs of this shit. And so, yeah, this is what it is. This is what a lot of people do, is they're following all the damn rules, and they're doing stuff that a lot of people just don't fucking like. And that's too fucking bad. You can respond. You don't have to be part of the, like, opinion editorials and throwing stuff around and, ooh, you don't have to do that just because, like, you saw me on the internet somewhere. Like, now everyone copy him, and everything he's talking about is all his opinion. There's a very stupid element within the internet that I'm confronting directly, which is we're all team internet, whether you fucking like it or not. So get used to the show. I'm doing my own thing. I'm not going to just talk over everyone in LPYT for ages. It's all in the effort and the artistic example of life. And yeah. And that's all it is. At the end of the day, when you're making jokes online, or when you're talking over a video game, or whatever the hell it is that relates to each individual's personal productions that appear in user-generated sites, it's like I'm the guy that's going to help people go find you and shit like that. But in terms of what I do, I am just the whole damn thing. Just say the word media, and that's what I am. So, yeah, that's the thing. No. There is no big fucking, oh my gosh, I'm the best video man. I'm the greatest gamer ever. I'm the most amazing thing that ever touched this website. If you bought into that, I feel sorry for you. And the whole thing that I'm doing here is encouraging critical thinking, skeptical thought about the things you're getting online, including the shit I say and the crap I do. And I'm always open for critics and whoever else to come and fucking talk to me and whatever else. And pretty much everyone I've fucking covered are the people where it's like, yeah, and I have more money. They all get paid subscriptions, or I like want through their paywalls and things like that. And same thing with other stuff where it's like, oh, I'm just going to cut like promos, like silly ads that I produce, most likely, is what's going to happen, because that's something I know I can do, and I can just put it on YouTube and have a product there to be like, look, So yes, I'm going to do things my own way. Nobody tells me how to do media other than the United States government and the YouTube website. So, yep, the guy that's not taking any of your shit is definitely me. But I'm also here to be like, hey, we're all team internet. You want to come talk to me about it? Ruffled feathers or whatever. I'm not like, fuck off, nobody can agree or disagree around here. It's all just what I told you to talk about and shit like that. So yes, the internet shitstarter is here to stay, and the big bad purpose and the like preview upcoming shit of like what is Eruptide podcast and it's just that. It's just, nobody said it was okay for any of these people that made successful internet products and big-time web shows. Same thing straight back to the beginning of Let's Plays. Nobody said it was okay to do that. Absolutely no one said it was okay to record yourself talking on top of a video game while you play it and then post that online. Like, nobody said that was okay. So you want to be intelligent and rational and reasonable whenever you're going to try out new ideas and stuff. But ultimately, a lot of this stuff just circles around to, yeah, go ahead and try and question my fucking broadcasting integrity. Just fucking try. Do it in the fucking comments. Do it up. Stop backing away, is always what I'm saying to people constantly about these things, and they back away. So it says a lot about them more than it says anything about me in those scenarios. And this thing is very different. This is more just kind of like, oh, there's this fucking thing about how you're supposed to fucking close this Eruptide account and just never do any of the things I do the second you get it all even minimally serious about multimedia productions online. And I'm just totally like, no, fuck that. Like, this is really me. I've seen tons of people cutting all kinds of crazy jokes and like explaining it just fine and rationally when questioned. That's the way I am. And then I see people where they're obviously just trying to shit kick and they have nothing to say at all other than whatever the hell they shit kicked on about. And a lot of it is like shit I've talked about before, where you've got to just get people in person, sit them down on the record is the best way to do it, but you got to just fucking talk to someone like in an interview style context. If they're doing like media and entertainment and punditry and all this shit, it's like there's so much demand to go this way and that way and this way and that way at any given moment, and everyone's gonna say what they're gonna say. A lot of my fucking real deal opinions are the shit that drives people fucking insane and makes them think like maybe I can ban this guy off my liberal website. So yeah, it's just something to know. I'm never the one where I'm sitting there talking about shit and everyone's just like, that's the thing that everybody should be saying, or no. It's like, no, the right wing hates me. Republicans, whatever, they all hate me for good reason because I hate them too. And then the left wing, in a general sense, tends to think I'm like too right wing. I'm too like in your face, and I'm too like, no, screw that. This is the way it is. It's all a matter of defining out like opinions versus personalities stuff. Where it's like, no, it's talk to me reasonably like a human being, and I'm not blah, 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 on about whatever. And if you're sitting there going on about how you fucking love Donald Trump, I'm going to go on about how he's stirring racism and he's a piece of shit human being and he's never done anything worth crap. And, you know, so it's the nature of the internet. You wanted to share your opinions and hear other people's opinions, and then you ended up getting upset that someone had opinions that you didn't agree with. It's just the dumbest crap ever. And this one relates to, like, media at large, which isn't one of those dumbest crap ever things. It's a point of nuance. Sometimes I mess these things up a bit, but it's something I understand well. It's a point of nuance that a lot of people don't get, which is not just, you know, here's the guy to bang on about fair use terms. It really is like, no, everything I do is like fully within the bounds of like what they want me to do. The actions and the content and all of it is like try new ideas, broadcast yourself, do something that you feel isn't being done. Well, guess what the hell everything I've done thus far is, and everything yet to come out, and on and on and on and on and on. So the gossip media about anybody and everybody, the political punditry with all the edge I want on it, other shows and that kind of stuff is going to be less of what I do, unless I'm directly responding to it, reviewing it, promoting them, etc. But yeah, you don't get to decide is basically the big thing. You can contact me. Is always the way it's going to work with this account and this guy. You can contact me. So, yeah, fuck you if you're upset about that, is a big part of it. Like, welcome to the media is part of my point in being here. Just like a lot of you have no idea what the fuck you're doing. Sorry if this gets upsetting and everyone's like, it's like, sorry, it's not my big intent to make everyone fucking go insane. It's just, you probably should know that that thing right there is not so. That it's some form of media zealotry or some form of personal hatred for either me or whatever the hell I do or whatever the fuck it is. And I really don't give a shit, and I never will. So yes, the other web producers out there making great shows, making it big, making it small, whatever they're doing with it, I love y'all. You give me inspiration. And your fans, they're all great. I'm done picking on all the fans. I've got some kind of thing coming out, like ha 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 web fans thing at some point, but that's not podcast 10. So yes, the title of the video, referencing Gamergate just slightly, is Vidya Media Arts School is concluded for Eruptide podcast 10. And this is just kind of the precursor thing that I wanted to cut. Just basically say, like, it's all a very real thing. I went off the rails a little bit along the way in terms of what I was doing. For the most part, no, that's like what I always meant to do. Do something new that people aren't seeing, that questions the edges and the nature of how far fair use and new digital media productions go in the form of roughly 10 numbered podcasts. And as I've explained into the thing, and it might be repeating myself or preview or whatever, everything I've talked about, like all of it, down to the last, is recorded for my employers, and it's kind of like just a nice thing that I'm doing for you, that I'm even explaining like any of it at all, rather than just moving on with my projects and doing it like that. It's like, it's kind of just a nice thing for the audience and YouTube in general, that I don't just move on and totally ignore all of it. So that's the other thing to understand, is like, you have a certain amount of leeway that's quite wide when you're trying to create something new and exciting and fresh for the internet. But if you refuse to be responsible, or you just refuse to be available for contact or anything, then you are doing it wrong. And that's not me. And so, you know, that's what we got. So basically, have a great day. If I ruffled your feathers, it was to get you to think, not to make you smash your keyboard. If I talked about your web show, dissed it or not, kind of thing, I think you're great, keep at it. That kind of thing. That's my real message. Due to dead batteries, everyone in my audience missed out a great rant about atheism just earlier. So that's out there too. That's something I'm doing. Just lots of other multimedia production ideas. Lots of other stuff. So yes, thanks for dropping by. Click the like button if you liked it. Share it around. Subscribe. Or don't do any of those things. And go talk a bunch of shit about me on Reddit or like 4chan, even 8chan. Just go do that, because I never gave a fuck about that. Have fun. You know, people are always going to misdefine you in the internet and call you all kinds of things, and they can bring it to my face, is what I've been saying since, I don't know, something like, not quite 10 years, but around that, you know, getting close to a decade of doing this. So, bye-bye.